Welcome to the Art Lady channel. Today we're going to be learning about the bones of the human body, and we're going to be painting a skeleton. And we're going to be putting our own artistic touch to the skeleton to be as creative as we can. We're now also going to be learning about body proportions and how to correctly paint the human body in correct proportions. So let's get started. You can choose any color paint, first of all, and you can choose any color paper. And depending on the paint colors and paper colors, you're going to create some kind of a painting that gives a certain feeling. For example, this combination of colors gives me kind of the feeling of Halloween. This gives kind of a spookier feeling, or like a night's haunting feeling. One of the kids in the class, depending on their decorations, one of the kids in the class did some of the Days of the Dead patterns and colors. And at the end of the video, I will show you some more examples, but I want you to be thinking while we're painting, think about what theme you would like to do, or what you're going to be doing for your colors, or what color papers would you like to use, because the combinations of colors and papers are basically endless. This student did this hot pink color, and they're not finished yet, but I really love that hot pink feeling, for almost a steampunk flavor to it. And this student asked if he could use more than one color paint. Well, sure, you can combine colors. You just want to be careful that you're not using one color for every bone part, or say if this is red, this is green. You want to have some unity in it, and to create unity, this child is using all the smaller bones in darker blue, and then the larger bones in the lighter blue, just so it has a uniformed feel throughout the whole skeleton. And that's called unity in art. So if we get started, what we need to do is we're going to be finding the very center of our paper, and I'm going to just mark with this paint, and I'm showing you on white. Because white has a cool technique that you can scratch into after you've painted it when you're doing white paint. See how I scratched in my skull there? And so I want to show you that. I found that some of the other color paints I'm not able to scratch in. So I'm going to be using white for this demonstration. And I start off with a dot in the middle, and then I lay my brush almost parallel to the paper, and I'm angling it straight up at my corner, and I'm going to print my brush, give it a little wiggle, and then I'm going to turn around, do the same to the other side. So I'm angling this right to the corner of my page, give a little wiggle. This is forming the pelvis. Now I'm just going to continue down, down, and then place a dot right here. This will form the base, the center of our body, which is our pelvis. I'm going to round this out a little bit, smooth out any of the puddles. That's for craftsmanship. And then I'm going to print two bottom ones. Angle it toward this corner, and these are going to be smaller. So you want the top curves to be bigger or wider. And then this one I'm using just the tip of my brush, angling it toward this corner, and smoothing it out. Smooth it out so that it becomes one shape. Then it kind of has a flatter edge here. And there is our pelvis. And if you feel your hips, you can feel them on the side of your body. And that is the center of your body. From here, I'm going to come to the very top of my page. I'm going to put a line as wide as my pelvis. And this is going to be my skull. And then I'm going to drop down, and I want to create the eye sockets. See those black eye sockets? That's the negative space of the paper. So I'm going to drop down again, straight line, and I'm going to make this an oval. Now to give a little angle to that oval, I'm just going to paint a line here, paint a line here. Smooth out any strokes. I'm going to round my skull a little bit here. And then I'm going to show you that technique. If you want to put some cracks in the skull, you can. Take your back of the brush and just press into the paint. Put some cracks in. From here, I'm going to square off my skull. And then I'm going to go ahead and do my lower jaw. So I'm going to leave a little negative space. Negative space is a place that has nothing, no artwork, and it is behind the subject. So I'm leaving negative space here. And then I'm going to put a small brush stroke here, almost like a U shape, and I'm going to connect it all together. And then I'm going to bring it slightly up so it's a little U down at the bottom, straight underneath here, following this curve actually. And then I'm bringing this jaw, some of the jaw bones back, up and around. There. All right, so we have our skull. Then I'm going to connect both with the spine. Right here, just placing dots. Now, we're not getting exactly correct on all these spinal bones here. Just place as many dots as you can in. Once you have everything else, you won't be able to see them all anyways. And then we're going to do the clavicle, which is the collarbone. So leave a couple for your neck here. I'm going to come off on my second one. Come off and paint in your clavicle. And there's other little bones in here too if you want to put a couple dots underneath. Come out. Now this should be a little bit wider than your pelvis, right here. So measure down. You don't want it to be too skinny. And then put a few dots for some other little bones. And then I'm placing a dot. We're going to start forming the humerus. We're going to go ahead. If you take your pelvis, I'm going to go diagonally up just a little bit. Because if you feel where your elbows are, they're just a hair higher than your hip bones. So I'm making it diagonally up a hair, pressing, diagonally up just a little bit, pressing. And then I'm going to connect the two bones together. The humerus is the upper arm bone. Straight line down. And when I do a straight line down, I hold my paper just like this, and I draw. My wrist is resting, and I'm moving my wrist so I have control. And I slide my hand so I have a nice thin bone. Now, if you want to make it so that it's more natural bone shape, connect the knobs on the end, or this dot that we made, with the bone, and make the bone a little bit thicker. And then you gradually blend into the knob on the end. There. And you get more of a natural bone shape. If you want to just leave it straight, that's fine. You can put as much detail in as you'd like. There. And then what I'm going to do is we're going to jump down, and if you look at where your wrist ends, it's mid thigh. So we're going to come down. Actually, let's get the thighs in first, so then you can measure. You can do proportions from there. If we take our hip bones here, I'm going to put a dot right here, dot right here. We're going to make your femurs. Then I'm going to find where this dot is, and I'm going to find the bottom of the page, and I'm going to divide that in half. If you want to put, go like this and fold it in half so you get the exact half, you can. Let me slide this up. And then I'm going to put from the mid right here, here's the dot. This is your kneecap, so just above that half line, I'm going to press with my brush for a kneecap. Those are the patellas, your kneecaps. Now the femur, I'm going to connect now with a straight line. Again, holding my brush straight up, resting my wrist. Then I'm going to lightly touch the paper and drag my hand. That way I get a nice straight line. Drag your hand and you get a nice straight line. And then if you want to make your bones connect like this, and the femur is one of the strongest bones in your body. It's got to support your weight of your whole body here. They say it's a very hard bone to break too, but people do break the femurs. There, okay. So now if we come back to this, if you feel your hands, your wrist, it's about halfway from this femur. That's where all this is going to happen. So I'm going to do it a little bit up. If you're a student, your arms are going to be shorter in proportion. So find halfway in your femur. I'm going to come out a little bit and make a mark. Femur, make a mark. And then I'm going to connect the two. And your lower arms have two skinny bones. This was the humerus, and then you've got the radius and the ulna. I need it thinner, so I'm going to wipe my paint so I have just a little bit on my here, right down. So the less paint you have on your brush, the better for very delicate skinny lines. And there's my radius and ulna, and then it hits the wrist, which is the tarsals, humerus, radius, ulna, carpals. These are the carpals, metacarpals, and phalanges. I have to follow my pattern. Otherwise, I forget what these bones are called. And I remembered them from when I was in, these are the phalanges, 5th grade. I had a great teacher, a science teacher, and so we remembered all the bones of the body. Okay, so there, and you can put tiny dots if you want. You've got many little tiny bones in your fingers. And of course, you can position them any way you want. Now, you don't have to have your arms coming down straight if you don't want to. You can position this. You can have it bent up, waving, holding something. This is just a straight skeleton here. But this gives you the correct body proportions. And so then you can go ahead and do the rest of your fingers in here. And let's get the lower legs. So we have the humerus here. No, sorry, the humerus is up here. This is your femur, patella, the kneecaps. Let's see, femur, patella, tibula, fibula. And now we need the tibula, fibula. Let's give a dot down at the bottom where we're going to put our feet. This will end it, and the bone. And then let's get the tibula and fibula in. You've got two lower bones. And you notice it makes a pattern. One larger bone here in the upper arm, two smaller. One larger in the leg, two smaller in the lower. So connect, connect. And then you have many little ankle bones down in here. You want to just put a bunch of little dots. And then you've got a lot of tendons in your foot too. And then you've got the little phalanges. And this would be the femur, patella, tibula, fibula, tarsals, metatarsals, and then the little tiny toe bones are the same name as the finger bones, the little phalanges. There. Now we're going to do the ribs. And the ribs start up here. Some kids put ribs all the way down here. You don't need to. The ribs you can end, they need to end up in here so you have room for the organs. I'm not doing the organs today. If you want to paint in the organs, you can. But your ribs end up higher. They come out, and the last rib is smaller. And you actually have 12. Some people have less, but there's 12 ribs, 12 ribs on each side, actually. But you can put as many as your painting will fit. So we don't have to be exact on that. And they actually do get a little bit wider as they come through here. And then they connect into a lot of other bone area here and cartilage up in the top area where they are protecting your inner organs. So if you can't fit 12, do not worry on each side. And I'm just doing this quick. My brush is getting a little sloppy here. But that's basically how you're going to finish your skeleton. I'll show you the overall look if I raise it up. Now I'm going to show you very quickly some of the student examples of what they did. Let's see. This one did, and these are 5th grade students, so they're 9 and 10 years old. This one is the Day of the Dead theme. And we did this after they viewed, after I did a demonstration, they viewed the lesson. The kids did this. And so they had about 20 minutes, so we got a good start the first day. And you can see how this one's putting some spider webs in the background. They'll finish it up another day. Here's some more spider webs. This one's going to put some black and some environment in, like a spooky night. And then this one started a moon, half moon. I like the way they did some color on the lips. And then they put in some gravestones. So like I said, whatever little details you want to put in to make it your painting, you can. And I hope you have fun learning about the bones of the body and creating your own artistic skeleton. Let me know in the comments how you did.